The Oklahoma City Thunder beat the Denver Nuggets in dominating fashion in Game 7 to advance to the Western Conference Finals for the first time since 2016. Hi everyone, this is Spectator Sports. We cover sports from a spectator's point of view. I'm your host Sebastian Fonseca, and in this video we're going to be recapping Game 7 between the Nuggets and Thunder, and also previewing the Western Conference Finals between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. But before we get into this video, please do us a massive favor. Drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you want to get clips from this video or our past videos here on Spectator Sports, we got that for you here on YouTube in our various playlists, as well as on TikTok for now. And if you want to enjoy Spectator Sports from an audio perspective, we got that for you on Spotify. I'll link everything in the description, and let's get into previewing the Western Conference Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder's defense was great in Game 7. They smothered Jokic and company, forcing 23 turnovers, which turned into 37 points, where 27 of them were in the fast break. Shai Alexander poured in 35 points on just 19 shots, pretty typical of him with very good efficiency. But he got some help from Jalen Williams, who has struggled for much of this series, and it was good to see him be a contributor, especially offensively, where in Game 6, he shot just 3 out of 16. In Game 7, he was phenomenal, being a pest defensively, getting a lot of deflections and getting on the fast break for 24 points. But the unsung hero in this has to be veteran Alex Caruso. He's touted as a really good wing defender, especially an on-ball defender on the perimeter, and he had the task of guarding Jokic in Game 7. And as the Jokic stopper, giving up more than 150 pounds, getting stuck with Jokic on the switch, he held his own. I mean, there were so many times that he got around Jokic, forcing deflections or getting steals, igniting fast breaks for the Thunder to make this a blowout. And it got so bad to the point where they just couldn't even make simple entry passes. And I can't tell you how many times Jokic looked so frustrated and exhausted that he just simply had no effort to get back defensively, and there was just so many easy looks at the basket. Now the Thunder are going to be facing a hungry, well-rested Minnesota Timberwolves team, and just like in round 1, the Minnesota Timberwolves made short work of the Steph Curry-less Golden State Warriors in 5 games, as they haven't played since Wednesday of last week. And they can pose a lot of problems for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are physical, they're deep as well. Last year, the Timberwolves made it to the Western Conference Finals, but they got gentlemen swept by the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic at the time. This time, they have dominated teams, getting revenge against Luka Doncic in the first round, gentlemen sweeping him and the Lakers in round 1, gentlemen sweeping the Golden State Warriors as well, and has looked like a budding superstar. He's scoring nearly 27 points a game, grabbing 8 rebounds a game, and dishing out nearly 6 assists a game. But the unsung hero in all this is Julius Randle. He's not been great with the New York Knicks in the postseason. He's been averaging less than 33% from the field, shooting a paltry 28% from deep, and just 17.3 points a game. And that was a huge reason why he was shipped out of New York. He could not be the focal point in the Knicks offense as they slowly transitioned to Jalen Brunson. And his postseason numbers have been boosted this year to 24 points a game on 51% shooting, and he's going to be a big problem against the Thunder's big men in Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, as they will pose some similar problems to Julius Randle compared to a couple years ago when Julius Randle and the Knicks went up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen definitely posed some problems for Julius Randle, but this time he's looked a lot better, and the amount of size and his ability to get to the court with ease with the head of steam is going to be interesting, because he brings a lot of size and versatility and strength against Chet Holmgren's toothpick frame. This is not a typical 6 seed that we're seeing make a run to the Western Conference Finals, because in the regular season they were really good until Julius Randle got hurt in February, and then when he returned in early March, They finished the season 17-4, and that's attributed to Chris Finch and his staff. They've been such a well-coached team of the postseason that they've been able to navigate adjustments throughout the entirety of their postseason run so far. And it's not only Randle's scoring that has improved, it's his playmaking, because he's able to take a huge burden off of Anthony Edwards' shoulders, because like I said, his ability to play downhill and get to the cup, but also be that drive and kick type of wing that has been so good in setting up the Minnesota Timberwolves shooters like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Mike Conley, or Jaden McDaniels, or even Naz Reid, that the Timberwolves have two guys that can initiate offense but also score. And while Randle has been grinding defensively, he has some backup. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels are some of the best wing defenders in the game, and I expect either one of them at times to be deployed on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they'll be providing really good defense and also good three-point shooting. Rudy Gobert has been the Timberwolves' defensive anchor during this postseason. In the past, he's been a liability on the perimeter, but when tasked to hold up defensively, he's been making an impact, getting steals and deflections while still being that rim protector, blocking numerous shots and also altering several others. Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid, I think, really provide that extra offensive punch to the Wolves rotation, especially coming off the bench, where I think that certainly equals the playing field to the Thunder's depth, especially in terms of their numbers, that Mike Dagnall likes to go pretty deep into this bench, especially even 10 men deep. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the main head of the snake and should win MVP this year for the OKC Thunder. He could easily put up 35 points a game in this series, as I wouldn't be surprised of him getting his typical point per game average, especially what we see in this postseason. But they will need J-Dub to step up, especially coming off of that Game 7 performance, because without him, I'm really worried about OKC's being able to navigate all the problems that the Wolves can impose with their size and length. But Julius Randle should be a problem for Chet Holmgren, especially with his poor frame. It's going to be interesting to see how Alex Caruso and Lou Dort are used in this series, because Dort, I think, could get a lot of the matchups against Anthony Edwards, as his strength and lateral quickness can contend with Anthony Edwards' ability. But even Alex Caruso at times, I think, could be a really good switch up that could fool Anthony Edwards at times. It's going to be really interesting to see. Even though OKC is the deeper team, they have a lot of high variance, especially in their supporting cast outside of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And now I do think that the bigs are going to be really interesting, because Hartenstein and Chet are going to be some problems for Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert at times, and Rudy Gobert is going to have to be consistently there offensively, because if he's not on the court, and then that leaves the basket wide open for Shai to get to the rim with ease. But if Rudy can be serviceable offensively, couple that in with Naz Reid being that stretch four, I think the Timberwolves can match up with the OKC Thunder's ability to go double big. Now, these two teams have a lot of uncanny similarities, led by young superstars. Each have a mix of size, length, and great defense, anchored by shot-blocking bigs. And both have really good coaching staffs between Chris Finch and Mike Dagnall. But I think it really comes down to the supporting cast, and like I said earlier, I'm not so sure about Jalen Williams compared to Julius Randle's ability to be a key contributor offensively. And like I said, OKC maybe has a little bit more depth in terms of quantity, but the quality in that depth is a little bit more consistent with the Minnesota Timberwolves. It seems that with the Timberwolves getting extra rest, whereas the Thunder are just coming off of one full day of rest, coming off of a grueling 7-game series as the Western Conference Finals begins on Tuesday, it seems that the Timberwolves will have a lot more juice, as they haven't played since last Wednesday. It's going to be a treat to see these two young stars go head to head. Anthony Edwards definitely has been looking hotter as of late, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has the better body of work, especially in the last 3 years, and like I said, he could beat the MVP. This is going to be a treat, and I really would expect this to go the full 7 games. But for a prediction, I'm going to take the Minnesota Timberwolves in 7 games.